Our world is full of unusual things, and although there are many sources of information, you cannot ignore the fact that seeing is believing. Even though you might have travelled across the globe to see some of the incredible things, rest assured there's plenty of cool stuff out there you've yet to discover. From unusual plants and animals to bizarre natural phenomena, here are the 12 peculiar and yet incredible things you're probably about to see for the first time in your life. Take a peek. Don't forget to smash the like button, subscribe to Mindboggler, and click the notification bell for more amazing content. Let's begin. Number 12. Bleeding trees. It's widely believed that plants and trees too have emotions and can even feel the pain, but surprisingly it doesn't stop there. Meet the trees that actually bleed when they're sliced open. Just like humans and animals. Much like the veins in our body, the tree's vascular system transports dark red to brown sap that accumulates on wounds on the trunks. The red liquid pours from chopped down trunks and branches and apparently bleeds like living beings. This apparent bleeding can look distressing, but the good news is this reddish liquid is actually used to coagulate and seal wounds and injuries sustained by the tree. What's more astonishing? That some species of these bleeding trees are native to South Africa, and local tribes believe that the red sap has magical properties. The sap of wild teak trees is suspected to help treat diseases such as malaria and ringworm, as well as sharp pains. Number 11. Invisibility Cloak. Invisible spy cars, camouflaged aliens, cloaked helicarriers and hard-to-see hobbits have been Hollywood fiction mainstays for decades. But what if we told you science's long struggle is yielding some productive results to replicate the same effect in real life? Recently, a team of researchers have created a cloak that can render a person invisible, just as portrayed in our beloved J.K. Rowling storybooks, in which the young wizard Harry inherited a magical cloak that could make anyone who put it on instantly invisible. Though the world doesn't have an actual Harry Potter-like invisibility cloak quite yet, a Canadian camouflage company, Hyper Stealth Biotechnology, has patented the technology behind a material that bends light to make people and objects near invisible to the naked eye. The material, called Quantum Stealth, is currently still in the prototyping stage, but was developed by the company's CEO Guy Kramer primarily for military purposes, to conceal agents and equipment such as tanks and jets in the field. As well as making objects close to invisible to the naked eye, the material is also being extensively tested for wearable and clothing purposes, so there's a high probability that an invisible cloak may join your wardrobe soon. Number 10. Genetically engineered human. People have used biotechnology processes such as selectively breeding animals and fermentation for thousands of years, but with each passing day, modern genetic technologies are becoming more exhilarating and terrifying. Though society might overcome diseases by tweaking individual genomes, it may also give rise to superhumans who are optimized for certain characteristics, like intelligence or looks. To add more to our fears, a Chinese scientist, He Jiankui, took genetic engineering to a whole new creepy level when he shocked the medical community last year by claiming he had illegally created the world's first gene-edited babies by employing a powerful technique called CRISPR on a human embryo to edit the genes of twin girls known as Lulu and Nana. Many scientists expressed concerns about possible unintended side effects of the genetic changes that could be passed down to future generations. Chinese police detained Jiankui as an initial investigation concluded that he used technology which is officially banned in the country, which is why he was sentenced to a 3-year jail term. Number 9. Bubble nets. Did you know some cetaceans use nets to catch their food? Like humpback whales. Recently, researchers from the University of Hawaii captured groundbreaking footage of a whale's point of view where they dive down while swimming in a circular pattern and blow bubble nets to capture prey in a vortex of doom. It's one of the most unique and absolutely fascinating things to watch. The team used drone cameras and attached sensors to the whales with suction cups to capture the video and record important data for investigating the causes of a possible decline in the humpback population. In addition to drone footage showing a stunning overhead view of a pair of humpback whales, marine biologists at the university also collected a wealth of data on the fascinating behavior of the animals, on how it employs strange techniques to manipulate their prey before hunting it down. Scientists believe that the findings from this mesmerizing bubble-blowing behavior will provide critical insights on how whales interact with their habitats and climate change accordingly. Number 8. Skating on black ice. The idiom skate on thin ice usually means danger, stop what you're doing or else. However, a video posted on the internet shows a freelance photographer, Henrik Trigg, and his friend Martin Ajner skating on a freshly frozen lake outside of Stockholm. To hit the so-called black ice when it has just begun to freeze and is dangerously thin is what defines the ultimate thrill in wild ice skating or Nordic skating. It's the holy grail, says Trigg, and the reward of it is laser-like symphony of sounds created when an ice skater's body weight passes over it without falling through. Wild skating is especially dangerous since the ice can be as thin as 2 inches, and even an experienced skater can have unexpected dips in freezing water. But if you know what you're doing and have the right equipment to do it, you may be able to successfully make some high-pitched cool sounds while gliding across the clear, black surface of the thin ice. And if you're planning to enjoy some Nordic action this winter, don't forget to carry some additional dry clothes. Number 7. Frozen cracked eggs. Flipping the old "it's hot enough to fry an egg on the sidewalk" experiment on its head, one Minnesotan decided to freeze an egg on the sidewalk instead. And why not? It's so cold that eggs are freezing in mid-air. A YouTuber behind the channel Minnesota Cold, which is about exactly what it sounds like, decided to show his audience what happens when you crack an egg in temperatures colder than the polar bear's bottom. When the temperature in Minnesota dropped to a chilling minus 27 degrees, the host in the video broke 2 eggs. The first one is broken mid-air between 2 stacks of bread, and the second one is broken on a pan, and you can see both times the egg froze in bizarre and unique patterns that were definitely picture-worthy. There's no doubt that anything liquid will freeze in temperatures like this, yet somehow watching the egg freeze is just, well, watch it. It's kind of wonderful. You want one of your own, don't you? It'll look great on your mantelpiece. Number 6. Asbats, or windmills of Iran. Renewable energies are nowadays an integral part of modern architecture design, but it's hard to digest the fact that the earliest known references to windmills date back to 644 AD. A village in northern Iran has still got functional windmills made of clay, straw and wood, and has been turning grindstones to mill grain for flour for an estimated 1,000 years. They were carefully designed and located up the hill overlooking the village, taking advantage of the area's strong winds while protecting it from them at the same time. In fact, the region is so well known for its wind that the name Nash-Tifan is derived from words that mean storm sting. Asbad is one of the most significant architectural structures of Iran and stands up to 65 feet in height. Each windmill is comprised of 8 chambers, and each chamber houses 6 blades. When the wind blows entering the chambers, it's blocked on half of its blades. These blades are then pushed downwards, resulting in the rotation of the windmill. Surprisingly, Panamoni Windmill, which is used nowadays, is also based on the same principle. In 2002, the windmills were recognized as a National Heritage Site by Iran, unique in that they are one of the few still operational. Number 5. The All-in-One. Designer cum artist and chef Chris Godfrey creates a 12-course meal that may sound appetizing, but when it's stuffed into a single tin can, perhaps less so. The All-in-One is the brainchild of chef Chris Godfrey. Though this meal is probably the most decadent zombie apocalypse ration ever conceived, guess what each layer of this gourmet stack really consists of? What it says on the label. And believe it or not, it wasn't an easy process at all. First, Godfrey prepared all the dishes with local, organic and artisanal food, and he packed it into a can layer by layer. The entire meal, which sounds a bit like something Willy Wonka's ultimate cuisine, well, you'll be surprised to know the motive behind this weird food creation. The all-in-one project of Godfrey's drives to the point of food and the gimmicks that corporations use to get consumers to buy their not-so-healthy products. Number 4. Shark stomach inversion. While humans just vomit the contents of their stomach up the way they came in, a few animals vomit their entire stomach and even sometimes their intestines. Surprisingly, sharks can puke their guts out, literally. Many different species of shark have been documented regurgitating the indigestible parts of whatever they recently ate. Sometimes the stress response is so severe that a gastric eversion is triggered in the body, and sharks actually vomit up their stomachs physically. And what's more gruesome is that they can suck their stomachs back in once the offending contents are rejected. The whole process takes less than a second. Believe it or not, some gluttonous sharks will vomit simply so they can eat more. Great white sharks also exhibit gastric eversion, but theirs is a unique variety that consumes large quantities of sea creatures. There are theories that stomach purging in great whites may help them in cleansing their system of poor quality meat and are making room for a better bite. Number 3. Whistled language. What's the most beautiful language in the world? French? Italian? Or maybe something completely different, like whistled language? Yes, you heard it right. A unique melodic language that uses whistling as a means of communication. For most of us, a whistle seems pretty simple, and it's hard to imagine how you could turn it into an actual language that contains lots of meaning and information. It basically all depends on a change of pitch. Though each whistle dialect is based on a spoken language, still, it could be pretty much impossible for us to decipher what someone whistles to us, even if we knew about the concept behind it. Languages communicated by whistling are relatively rare but are known from around the world, and experts believe that fluent whistlers can understand whistle messages with 90% accuracy. Whistled messages typically consist of stereotyped or otherwise standardized sets of expressions, which often have to be repeated in order to convey messages properly. However, such a language is hard to preserve with their ancient traditions, but surprisingly, this unique way of communication is still in practice in countries like Turkey, France, Mexico, and New Guinea. Number 2. Floating schools. Every year, 1/3 of Bangladesh experiences the floods of monsoon season, and during this period, thousands of schools are forced to close, and many children miss school days. In 2007, an estimated 1.5 million students, or about 10% of those enrolled in primary schools, were affected by floods. So to resolve the problem, authorities came up with a unique idea of floating schools, which exactly replicates what their name suggests. They are schools floating on water, typically on a boat. So if children are not able to reach the school should reach them by boat. Currently, there are about 23 boats operational, which are about 55 feet long and 11 feet wide, with a main cabin that can fit 30 children. The floating project not only provides maximum flexibility to the rain-affected areas, but they can also reach villagers who, for logistical, social or cultural reasons, could not access a permanent institution. Moreover, as flooding becomes more common around the world due to climate change, we'll probably see more floating buildings soon enough. Number 1. The murmurations of starlings. Starling murmurations are one of nature's greatest spectacles, and autumn is the time to witness the stunning aerial display in the skies. These amazing murmurations occur when thousands of the birds flock together, swooping and diving in synchronization against the autumn sky. Luckily, a few murmurations have been caught on video. You can search online for murmuration videos to see for yourself how incredible these large flocks of birds can be. As they fly, the starlings in a murmuration seem to be connected all together. They twist and turn and change direction at a moment's notice, but the million-dollar question is how hundreds or even thousands of birds coordinate such complicated movement while in flight. For years, scientists have wondered about these mysterious murmurations, but with recent technological advancement in cameras and computers, scientists have been surprised to learn that the mystery of the murmurations is a natural phenomenon that hides secrets about the world of biological physics that scientists have yet to still uncover.